trying in that particular bullet, I was just trying to reference the fact that, even though you have, I had, while I did interview folks, I think I had a direct ability to build a diverse environment through the people that I was interviewing in selection process to make sure I had a balance of diverse groups of people, diverse backgrounds and nationalities, to make sure that I had that balance of diversity and making sure that I was appropriately and fairly considering everyone's background and experiences to make sure that they were a good fit within the company. I think that's really where most of that was. In terms of just allowing people to get along, the teams and groups as they worked on the various projects, it was up to me to be able to assign groups and teams. I'm very focused on making sure that the team was a balance of different diverse backgrounds and experiences so that they can learn to work together and see things from a different perspective so they can be even more successful.
Okay, great. You also mentioned about the technology data and analysis for streamlining operations. Can you go through this as well, this bullet point?
Well, their software system was very advanced. Their system tied in all aspects of operations within their software, and their information system was very good. You had the aspect of the registers, you had the aspect of the employees' ability to log in, seeing their hours. It was a real strong human resource information system where you could see all data to do with the employees, and all their background, all their benefits, so anything to do with the employee, anything to do with the store operations, in stock positions, all the inventory, all those sort of things were things that were trackable and able to be accessed, and reporting, those sort of things. So the reporting was really good. Lots of reports, and things that were important to me, I would be able to pull those and be able to access those, and use those immediately, presenting those to lead employees, supervisor employees, to be able to allow them to make decisions about what they need to do, based upon various, statistics and details that might be on the printout.
Okay, great. That's great. So, let's any initiative that you did for this experience, other than, of course, starting these companies from ground up. Other than this, anything
Well,
else?
the only thing I would just say is that the people that I trained to be leaders within the company, that basically the people that I hired to be leads that worked for me, I promoted probably close to 6 people. I want to say 6, but let me make sure I got this right. I promoted about, I'll say 5 people were promoted that I trained, that were promoted to become bigger positions within the company, within the district. They were promoted to other stores to take bigger and larger roles. So of the people that I trained and developed, they all were promoted.
Okay, okay. So, did you set up any processes during your experience here? Any unique process that was not there before with the Tesco
Again, I
chain?
get not really, no, because the company was very advanced in a lot of their processes. I think the main thing is that your aspect of how you teach people how to organize their time. I would think that would be something that I brought. I helped train them and organize them to be able to be more efficient in their work and be organized and be able to identify the high priorities and be able to get those things done working through a team. So that was my special thing that I brought to that company, because they are very process oriented and very structured. So the only thing that was missing was the people skills aspect of things, and being able to help people become good leaders and actually be able to get the job done, working with teams and being good team leaders.
Okay, okay. So, anything else for this experience that you would like to share, like some project or some other thing?
Uh, that would do it.
Okay, okay. So let's move on to your Home Depot experience. Can you go through your day-to-day responsibilities?
Well, that company, a lot of the experience that I had with Home Depot, they they hired me first. I guess the first thing I would say, they hired me. I think it was out of I want to. I think I have it written down in one of my documents here at the time because I think that the actual manager leader for Southern California, one of the HR people for Southern California, said that there was over 100,000 applicants, and that I was selected to interview. And out of the 50 that were interviewed, that were the top qualified people, that I was the number one qualified candidate. And basically, they hired me from the outside to become basically a manager and training for their company to help them their home run Home Depot stores. So that was just one thing that was a big deal because at the time they
Okay.
didn't really normally do that. They actually only hired from, promoted from within, and they opened up this thing where they had people coming in from the outside that were able to be trained and come into the outside. But my day-to-day operations, my day-to-day job role, I did a couple different things. I was I did day operations and I did night operations. And night operations would be working overnight. Day operations just runs during the day. I basically was responsible at one point for 10 different department supervisors, roughly between 2 to 300 employees. The store size was probably about $75 million store. So I was responsible for all profit and loss and the income for the store. I was accountable monthly for line by line expenses up to $100, and was responsible for all aspects of operations for that store.
Okay, that's good. So, can you again go through some of the initiatives that you introduced over here?
Well, I think that in terms of just uh, when you say initiatives, I guess you're talking about what kind of programs and things I put in place. I think
Yeah, yeah.
really
Any projects or programs?
well, I mean, their company is really kind of more focused on retail products. So really, I think I was responsible. Just to say, I can say that when I was working during the nighttime, there's two things. One is that when you're night operations, you're responsible for all the inventory in the inventory turn. So I was responsible. I think it was up to like 25 million dollars, $27 million of product that would turn roughly 3 times, 3.5 times, something like that. So I was responsible for the folks that were responsible for maintaining inventory correctness and making sure that things were all ordered and delivered and on the shelf. And I was responsible for the 15, 20 people that would stock the shelf overnight, every night, and all the product be received and stocked and shelved, including the inventory process for the entire store as well, the annual year-end inventory process. But during the day, it was much different. It was very much focused on customer service, cleaning the shelves as they went, and just kind of really focusing on the cleanliness, organization, and making sure that everyone was providing excellent customer service. So, I mean, really, both ends of those things I did from the operations standpoint when I became the operations manager for the store. Prior to that, I was also a merchandising manager, which means that I would work in one or two or three departments. The difference between a merchandising manager and operations manager is operations manager is responsible for the entire store and all operations, whereas a merchandising manager may be responsible for a department or three departments or four departments, making sure that those departments are managed well and run correctly, and from a focus of what is this department doing. So I did that for a while as well, and those are things that I did while I was there. Also, I was selected to be a store manager in basically an interim store manager for one of the companies, one of the stores, which is very similar to the operations position. Because I was already in operations, it was easy for them to have me be the interim store manager. because the being so involved in the store, you already know everything. So they just allowed me to become the interim store manager for a little bit, and then that's kind of where that finished up for me before I left.
Okay, okay, that's great to hear. So, any initiative related to HR that you worked on over here, like for example, hiring or talent acquisition or anything like this?
Well, I mean, the I was responsible for HR within the company, so any and all employee relations sort of issues, things that would become more serious, I would be actively involved in handling any of those that would come up. I was also responsible for any compensation questions. I was responsible to make sure that all the benefit enrollments and all those sort of things were worked out through HR. Anything to do with HR. So I managed the HR person that was within the store for the brief period. Um, Prior to that, as just the operations person, I worked directly with that person and actually would be a coordinator if certain questions came up. But other than that, the store manager would handle that. But that was kind of my role at Home Depot.
Okay, okay, that's great. So, anything, I think that's it that the questions that I wanted to ask you about your experiences. So, anything that you would like to mention or
Yeah, you,
ask
yeah,
me? Yeah.
yeah. There were a couple things. One is, you had asked me under the job listings, you asked me to highlight in red anything that I wasn't proficient at.
Okay. Yeah,
You,
yeah, that was
there was one
that.
thing on there
Okay.
on that first page under Vice President of Human Resources on the second column on the right-hand side. It says strategic partner with clinical affairs and education. I'm not familiar with that.
Okay, okay, that's fine. That's not directly, but
It should.
basically the reason we asked to highlight it in red so that we know which ones we should not use as keywords within your resume. So that was the only reason. So that's fine.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Anything
And
else?
then,
Yeah.
well, I guess, I guess the only thing I have a question for you is that, I know that when you have accomplishments, the accomplishments must be, very much showing sort of some sort of um, uh,
Basically some value that
yeah,
has been created. Yeah.
value. There's a value associated with it. There's some sort of number. I think that's the thing, is that there's some numbers that I feel like, in order for my resume really to be complete, the numbers have to be there. There has to be some
Okay.
sense of the numbers, in terms of like what, if I managed this, I did this, and there was a savings of
Yeah.
this.
Yeah.
And right now I don't, I'm not feeling that there's enough of that. I
And
feel.
I think I've captured quite some numbers without even you knowing, because you see that it doesn't always have to be numbers. It has to be something that is distinct from the rest of the resumes that you are an HR
Okay.
manager. So you see you have started a lot of processes in your first experience from scratch. So these are your accomplishments from what I see. So don't worry about it. I will highlight those accomplishments in your visual center of the resume, and you'll be able to see that yes, you have done some distinct stuff. It doesn't have to be like that you increase sales by this, because you're not a person, you're an HR manager, and what you can do is that you can reduce the turnover rate, you can improve the employee relations, you can improve the benefits provided to. So these are your quantifiable skills as well. So this just doesn't have to be a number in my point of view.
Okay. All right.
Depends upon the
Um,
job role basically.
yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty much the only thing that I was thinking, I guess. So what is the next? I really don't have anything else that I can think of to add. Um, I guess.
Okay, Okay, I will be working on your resume from today onwards, and you will have your resume, CL and LI by the end of this week with you. For the second resume, you have to give me an example job listing so that I can understand what you want to focus on your second resume. Because for this resume, I have enough.
Okay. So I think that yeah, I definitely will do that. I know what you're asking for, and I will take a look and see what I can find, and I'll forward that to you. Okay.
Okay, you will have all your documents by end of this week. For the second resume, I will try to finish it within this week, but let's see how what you're expecting from me, and then I can tell you about the second resume version. For the first resume version, this cover letter and the LinkedIn, you will have it by the end of this week, by Friday or Saturday.
Okay. So as far as the LinkedIn goes, on what you're going to do is you're going to send me the actual information. What I do is I cut and paste it in. Correct?
Yeah, exactly. We'll give
Yeah.
you all the
Okay.
instructions how to go about that. So you
Okay.
already have a LinkedIn, so you won't have any problems, copy pasting it over there.
You looked at my LinkedIn page? Is that correct?
Yeah, yeah, I did. I did.
How
I
did you
did
how
it.
did you how did you feel about what you saw there?
Okay, you see, you have since you're an HR manager, so obviously your LinkedIn is really good. But we follow a certain pattern for LinkedIn. Like we try to highlight the challenges that you faced and your overall outlook towards your experiences and how do you perform every day. So we focus on those. So just going to mold your resume according to your resume that I've captured right now. Sorry, your LinkedIn as well.
Okay.
So
Okay.
so it will
So
be
then
it will be just a rewording of what you have written.
okay. All right. So what'll happen is you'll send me that by the end of next week if everything works out well. I'll send
This
you
week,
the
this week,
this week.
yeah,
Okay. Okay. So this
th-
week, and then I'll get that to review it and kind of do a final approval on it. Right? Is
yeah,
that correct?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. That's
Okay.
right. That's right. Any changes
Okay.
you would tell us, we would make it for you.
Okay. And I'm communicating with you, or do I communicate with the other person?
Fatma, you can communicate with me. It's fine.
Okay. All right. All right. Well, I'm really looking forward to seeing the copy, and I thank you very much for asking me all the questions. Hopefully I answered enough of the questions to help you, and it sounds like you've got a good handle on it. I can tell you I've been writing my resume for a long time, and I think I just reached the point where I just needed someone else to look at it from the outside in to be able to give it something that will help me, as you said, to kind of elevate it above whatever else is out there, that it'll
Yeah.
actually help me to be lifted above the group, and that's what I'm hoping for. And I know it's not easy, so I thank you very much for your work. Okay.
No, that's not a problem. You have given me a lot of information that I will be able to utilize for your resume. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye. Have a nice weekend. The
Right.
that is left. Okay. Thank
You
you.
too. Thank you. Bye
Bye.
bye.
Bye.